Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to 4 Strategy Gaming. It is time for some more StarCraft 2 commentary. Today we will be taking a look at a game here between Liquid's Rhett and Adel. We are here on Typhoon Peaks, and in the bottom left-hand position, our red Zerg player is Liquid's Rhett. And then down over here in the lower right-hand position, we do have got Adel as the blue Protoss player. It's Saturday, and I'm happy to finally be casting some more StarCraft 2, and I will be happy to get back in that normal commentary schedule of producing StarCraft content every single day, and then throwing in those strategy videos periodically throughout the week as well. And that, of course, is going to be in addition to all of the lovely Diablo 3 beta content that is coming out. Alright, so Adel is moving his first Overlord actually straight into that northern position, hoping to spot Adel up here. Did I call him Adel? Liquid Rhett is moving that Overlord up into the upper left-hand position, hoping to spot Adel. Unfortunately, though, he will not be grabbing him because, as we can see, Adel is located right over here. Now, very interesting to note that Adel is actually deciding to not go for that frontal wall off, but instead go for some sort of a sim city. We're going to be seeing that gateway likely placed around here, and what he's going to just try to do is protect his resource line by keeping everything nice and tight. He wants to keep all those buildings and the pylons and everything nice and tight around the nexus rather than attempting to go for that wall off. Now, it's an interesting decision. It does make it, alright, he's got more mining time because he didn't have to go as far for that first pylon off the line, and he didn't really have to pull off the line to drop the gateway much either. But at the same time, it makes it a lot easier for your opponent to get in secondary scouting and figure out what you're going on. So obviously, hopefully for Adel, we'll see some other method of denying scouting. I mean, certainly once he gets that first sentry up, he can lay down some force fields, and the first Zealot and Stalker as well are going to help against a small amount of Zerglings early on. But definitely secondary scouting is something that Rhett could pull off. Now I am very interested to see as well that Rhett did decide to go for one base play. See that extractor just popping right now? He will be getting that saturated. A lot of times you will see Zerg players actually just come out 15 hatch unless they're scouted. And as we can see here, Adel hasn't done any scouting so far this game, but as we can see, though, Rhett has decided to start off with one base play, likely coming out with that hatchery around 21 supply. In fact, you can see right now he's at 19, moving on down, and he will be actually dropping that right now. So first opening up with one base, getting a few Zerglings out. He will be getting that metabolic boost sometime soon as well, and then moving on out to his expansion. Now, the thing with going like 15 or 14 hatch, though, is it is a little bit dangerous, I would say, especially on this map. You can see just how wide open this whole area is right in front of that expansion. So dealing with harass early on can be certainly quite frustrating indeed. Back over here for Adel, he is doing, as I mentioned prior, just going with that SimCity defense and attempting to deny much harass from Zerglings this way. But again, not going for that full wall off. I mean, this is going to allow Rhett to get a full-on scout right here. You can see the Zergling finally moving down for Rhett in the lower right-hand position into Adel's base, and he's going to be able to see everything that's going on, but no, a little bit of miss micro there from Rhett. He really did not have to lose that Zergling. He could have quite easily pulled that back, but as we can see, clearly did not happen. And here comes a pylon outside of the main base right by that natural, and the indication here is that Adel will be coming out with an expansion, so deciding to open up first with that one gate and then move into an expo. Now he's going to be coming out sentry heavy as well. This will help him deal with any possible early game aggression from Rhett. You can see Rhett scouting out that expansion. He's fully aware of what's going on right now. He's also going to sit tight here with the Zergling and then use him for secondary scouting sometime later down the road. And we also have another Overlord. We have an Overlord situated over here, and that will also be used for secondary scouting later on, likely a few more minutes into the game. Once the Zerglings aren't able to scout out at all, then we will be seeing Rhett moving with that Overlord just to check for tech or production buildings of Adel. Back over here for Rhett, we can see right now, looks like he is just working on his econ. If we take a look, he's got 25 drones right now, and in terms of Zerglings, just sitting with a 1, in fact. Now, he lost that first Zergling that moved into the main base here of Adel, but he has got this one remaining here. We've got 2 gateways coming out front, another pylon being placed over there, so at the moment, just sitting with 3 gateways, plus that nexus coming on through. Now that the metabolic boost is in, we may very well see Rhett sometime soon move in for that secondary scout, and actually pumping out a lot of Zerglings right now. So it does look like Rhett will be attempting some aggression sometime very, very soon. Zergling moving on up, getting some scouting, seeing a lot of gateways there, making it a little more difficult for his units to actually move on in. And we can see a nice wall here for Adel, plus those sentries will try to deny those Zerglings from doing much damage at all. But you can see right now, wide open in the backside, and Liquid's Rhett's Zerglings moving down, but there's a force field, and oh no, trapping a bunch of Zerglings there on the inside, and it looks like Rhett will be losing those few right there. One managed to sneak up in the base, and he will be getting some scouting information. A few more Zerglings sitting over there, and what else is Rhett going to do? He's got a second hatch coming out over here right outside of his natural expansion. That will, of course, be used for some additional larvae, allowing him to be aggressive. We also have a Roach Warren coming out. No layer tech at all. Not even bothering going for the layer quite as of yet. But again, he is coming out with that Roach Warren in that in-base hatch over there instead. And I'm not sure how much Vespene does he have. He just actually has that one extractor going right now, so not very Vespene heavy. He might need a few more if he's attempting to pump out any significant amount of roaches. Now over here we can see sitting with a total of 4, 5, and looks like it's going to be 6 gateways for Adel. So opening up 1 gate to expand and then moving into 6 gateways. He doesn't have a forge or anything like that, but it looks like he is planning a gateway heavy push. A couple Zerglings just sitting over there waiting to actually engage sometime later down the road. And here we go, 18 more Zerglings coming out right now for Rhett. He's coming out also with a few more extractors. He will have a total of 3 once these 2 finish over here, and it does seem like Adel is pushing out. That scouting Zergling got taken out, and this is the perfect time right now for Rhett to move on in. And what is he going to do? Is he going to push into the resource line? It looks like he will attempt to do so, but Adel has a full wall off right now with that pylon plus that gateway. And Adel will be pushing back with those forces to deny these Zerglings, and there you go, no problem at all. 1 force field getting dropped to prevent those Zerglings from doing any more damage, and very nice unit wall, plus that force field preventing Rhett's Zerglings from retreating. So unfortunately for Rhett, he did get that scout with the Zergling, and he had those kind of ambushed Zerglings situated over here, but his push and an attempt against Adel's expansion didn't work because of the full wall off that we saw Adel have, plus with that Zealot right over there. A couple more Zerglings will be attempting the same thing, and let's see if he's going to be able to do much damage at all, trying to get a surround on that gateway. Looks like he's working him down pretty quickly. We've got 1 Stalker moving on out to get some scouting right now for Adel, but Adel might be losing this. He needs to drop a force field. Is he going to just wait? He's going to wait till the Zerglings push on through, and there we go. The force field gets dropped, and at the same time, here comes a push right now for Adel. He's moving his way across the map. We've got a proxy pylon in the middle, a couple stalkers trying to get any scouting units off of the map, and here comes a push right now at the same time. Zergling's working through this gateway, and they're going to attempt to drop it, but there's that force field again, denying any damage from those Zerglings. Adel keeping up this force field wall as much as possible. Zerglings trying to do what they can. Are they going to be able to sneak on in? The force field's about to dissipate. There we go. Zerglings moving on in, but how much damage are they going to do at the same time? We got a push coming over here for Adel, moving down. Nice force field wall, getting dropped, trying to do as much damage as possible. Zerglings in the resource line right now, and Rhett doing a lot of damage to the economy. And actually right now, Adel pushing back. He's not continuing his aggression yet. He's holding up, probably waiting for an additional warping of units. Zerglings doing what they can. What are we looking at for resources lost right now? Looks like Rhett is a bit behind. He is trying to kill as many workers as possible. So far, he has managed to kill off 5 probes. Still trying to do some more damage, but those sentries plus the Zealot should be enough to mop up those Zerglings. And Adel just sitting idly over here for some reason decided not to push against that. This has bought Rhett a lot of time to mount up that Roach and Speedling force. This is going to be pretty tough for Adel. It's really going to come down to how that engagement plays out once it does finally come through, and how well placed the force fields of Adel are. We do have a few more Zerglings mounting up and getting ready for another attack. Adel has rebuilt that wall. Does he have a space right here, though? No, it doesn't look like he does. Zerglings aren't able to sneak on in, so they're going to just try to work down any low HP targets, and this warping in gateway is the perfect target for them. And here we go. Zerglings about to bust through, and there they go. Zerglings moving back into the main right now, and they will be pushing on forward and trying again to do as much economic damage as possible. Again, trying to go with that Sim City. Unfortunately, it didn't work because the Zerglings just wrapped up the backside, and Adel finally pushing forward with his large force. The Zerglings trying to do as much damage as possible. They're actually working quite a bit of damage against all of those workers right now. And Adel, what is he doing? He's just sitting idly with his forces, and here we go right now. Rhett converging from all angles and managing to get very close to the force field wall. A little late. And wow, Rhett was able to do quite a bit of damage with that. Zerglings have finally been mopped up. Force field wall preventing the Roaches and Speedlings from pushing forward, but Adel looks like he lost a bit there. And yes, look at that, they're about even. We saw earlier how far behind Rhett was and how many workers has Rhett killed. He's killed 16 so far this game. Another small force of Zerglings getting ready to re-push against Adel. And Adel having a really tough time and still sitting idly over here with his main forces. I'm really bewildered as to what he's doing right now. He's just trying to prevent this harassment. And there we go. The Zerglings move into the main again. And a big mistake by Adel is going to cost him dearly. We'll be losing more and more mining time. And this is a problem. Let's take a look at the income tab. Rhett in a very strong position. The units for Adel still doing nothing over there. Just chilling out and trying to chase around these Speedlings with those unupgraded situated zealots won't really do much at all for Adel because he cannot keep up as long as Ret is paying attention to this and still trying to go with that Sim City, but the Speedlings back now in the expansion and continuing to kill more and more workers. We're seeing a total of 17 killed so far and still sitting idly. Adel, what are you doing, my friend? What are you doing? This is a very rough situation. Adel has been sitting idly over here for so long. He's just been taking this damage and not responding at all. And look at this, actually, Ret just circumventing these forces right now. He's got a small group of roaches over here, but look at this large force for Ret right now, moving straight towards Adel's base. He's feeling mighty confident right now, and I am not sure what's giving him the balls to actually try to push out and do this, given the fact that he's got a large force outside of his base. I'm guessing he just feels comfortable since Adel, is he AFK right now? What is he doing? He's doing nothing with his forces. He's pushing back right now because he sees the roaches and Speedlings right outside his natural, and then he's losing a good chunk of the units there to the roaches and Speedlings pushing at the backside as those units were retreating, and Ret tearing through the expansion. We got more units coming up from the backside, and Adel's forces are about to get sandwiched right now. Tons of roaches over here, tons of roaches coming from the other side as well, and look at this huge advantage for Ret. Almost 200 supply, and that was unreal. The very, very rough situation there. Unbelievable play by Ret, forcing the GG from Adel. Adel decided this game not to go for the typical wall off and or forge fast expand that you typically see in PvZ, but instead going for the Sim City build, attempting to build nice and tight close to his resource line and protect his workers that way. We saw Ret open up one base going for a quick metabolic boost and then moving into his expansion at 19 supply. Adel went for a 1 gate into expand, then dropped down 2 additional gateways, getting a full wall off, totaling up to 6 gateways, and then attempting to push out against Ret. Seeing the expansion, instead of moving into his third, Ret just decided to move up 2 roaches, get a third hatch, and just stick on the 2 bases and play some aggressive Zerg play. With a scouting Zergling, Ret was able to spot Adel pushing out across the map for an attack, and then he responded with some hidden Zerglings, attempting to move up into that natural expansion of Adel. Unfortunately, with that full wall off, he wasn't able to do much damage, and we saw Adel push back with his forces and easily take care of these Zerglings. Every time Adel tried to push out across the map, we immediately saw a counterattack from Ret. Ret eventually able to work through these walls and get Zerglings up into the main of Adel was a huge, huge problem for him. Again, as Adel was across the map with his forces, these Zerglings just working down these buildings and eventually breaking their way on through. Adel moved out with his attack, but Ret was prepared for it with a few spine crawlers, a ton of roaches, and Zerglings as well. He was able to stop Adel from pushing up and force him back. At the very same time as that push, we did see Ret move with a counterattack of Zerglings, was able to get up into Adel's econ and start the constant harass that he maintained all game. Adel spent way too much time idle outside of Ret's base because he was distracted in his main by the constant counterattacks of Ret. Ret just kept up the aggression non-stop, continuously breaking through this wall, wreaking havoc to Adel's econ, and eventually getting in such a strong position that he just totally outnumbered Adel. Ret pushing against his natural forced Adel back, and then a flank from the other side completely overwhelmed Adel's forces and forced the quick GG. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you have enjoyed this commentary. As always, if you like the content, please subscribe. Thanks again. Keep watching and keep owning.